up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, we forgive you for shoplifting. This is state of the game, where you are forgiven for shoplifting. The rest of it you got to work off. My name is Dano. I am here to host this in my Erica Badu t-shirt. And what's relevant? What should you know about me? You know what? I'm gonna leave my introduction intentionally blank. Boom. How about that? Um, yep. My co-host used to go by the name of Carl Douglas. Wrote the song Kung Fu Fighting. Uh, used to be started the Hells Angels based on a movie he saw. There's a lot of things he's accomplished, but the biggest accomplishment is being here every week. So thank you for joining.
Man.
Thank you. So we are here with somebody I have been bullish on since when was it 2019? I don't even know, man. But I think somebody who represents somebody who makes music that sounds like what being in Montreal was like. My family went to Montreal, okay? And the cool shit about it was that there were so many different groups of people.
Yeah.
There were so many different groups culturally doing and there were so many different kinds of music and stores and eateries, and it felt like a true melting pot of people who all wanted to make art with each other. And so sonically, Janette King brings that to the table when she steps in the booth. So thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me. I mean, wow, what an intro.
Montreal, the land of Chung, Kay. The land of Chung. Chung's gonna be on here one day. That's my white whale of Montreal. There's a rapper named Chung who's just fantastic. But anyway, no, we went to Montreal. I went to meet my family. We met up with Sun Ra, who's a journalist in Montreal.
Okay.
Hip hop journalist. He kind of, hipped us to the cool places and eateries and things like that. So yeah, it was
Sun Ra, like the band, like the jazz band.
Yeah, no, SONRAW.
Oh, okay, Sun Ra. Okay.
No, yeah, he's a hip hop producer and a journalist for Passion of the Weiss. So yeah, he's awesome. And
I'm always looking for interesting people in my neighborhood. Thank you for shouting that out.
I mean, there's so much cool stuff going on in Montreal musically. So yeah, and it's really cool to know that. So you have just released Incantation, 9 songs, follow up to your last album, which so what we've lost or what I've lost. I'm sorry.
What we lost.
What we lost. I knew it was if my brain is foggy today, I just came from the hospital. My mom.
Oh, it's all good. It's also like 8 p.m. So for all you people listening out there, it's for a 30-year-old, it's tired. It's tired. If you're in your 30s out there, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I hear you. What we lost. Yeah, I've been up since 6 a.m. So what we lost really bowled me over. That was 2021.
Yeah.
So,
but I did come out with an EP in 2019. I wasn't sure if that's what you were mentioning.
No. Was that 143?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I love 143. I listened to it today.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What did you listen to it on?
Bandcamp.
Okay, yeah.
Hardcore Bandcamp. So yeah, no, the thing, and there's some stuff on 143 where like one of the things that I think maybe attracted my ears was like you tend to pick nasty beats that rappers would kill.
You think so?
Yeah. There's some bass scrunchers on 143 where I was like, oh shit, like this is dope.
Oh dang. I'm curious to know what one you're thinking of.
I'll pull it back. But yeah, and there's I mean, you have those throughout the catalog where you're comfortable on so many different kinds of songs. Um,
Hmm.
and what we lost, I think, was the best showcasing of that.
Hmm.
And Incantation moves with the knowledge of what we gained on what we lost, in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that what I wanted? For first question is all the preamble to the first question, which is when because you go all the way back to 2015, and I think the album you released in 2015 might be your most conventional.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was definitely like I had just finished jazz school. Me and a bunch of jazz pals were like, let's make an album. I was in Vancouver. I was like, you know what? I want to move to Montreal. And then
Electric Magnolia is yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then me and my buds, my jazz school buds were like, let's move to Montreal, but we should tour across Canada to do it. And I was like, okay, well, I have a bunch of songs. Like, do we want to make an album to tour with? And then that's how that came about.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Yeah. So that and but I was listening to that, having listened to all the rest, and I
Mhm.
was like, oh, this is very like straight ahead. This is
It
very
is.
like
Yeah.
what we, that period of time where me and my friends were complaining about jazz vocals. That's how old I am. I had a period where me and my friends were complaining about jazz vocal as
Uh-huh.
a genre because we were like, this is a bunch of breathy white ladies over very like watered down Kenny G style jazz. Like that was
Mm.
what was popular. And we were like, there's no experimentation here. There's nothing fun happening with this. This is very basic. It's gotten
Yeah.
better since that time, I think. There has been experimentation in genre kind of melding. Um, but and I'm not saying Electric Magnolia is that. I'm just saying what you described was like, oh, that's that time hitting me.
That time.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that you're right though in saying that like in comparison to the other projects, like Electric Magnolia is definitely like Janette, 1.0 or something.
And so that
Mm.
was the question is how did you develop what your sound is, what a Jeanette King song sounds like?
Hmm.
How did you develop that? Because you have at this point, right? You know what a Jeanette King song should sound like, and the components of it, really sonically. So, like, how did you get to that place? What project do you think anchored that understanding?
I think that like I got there through trial and error. As you've already said, like I like to mix around with like various genres.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's because I really do see myself in a lot of different spaces. And I've always felt that way in like almost every aspect of my life. I have like very like different types of friends and like feel very comfortable in different types of spaces. And like sonically, I think that I had to like go through this trial and error of like figuring out, okay, what direction feels like the most authentic to me. And then also, I've changed the people that I work with. So that has an impact on the sound as well. So yeah, I think that to answer your last question, the project that kind of like solidified like the direction I want to go in was definitely like what we lost. I think that that was the starting point. And then Incantation has been kind of like more of like a departure from that in a sense of it being a bit more like cohesive. Like
Mhm.
what we lost still had a bit of like various genres inside.
Yep.
Now, when you say you change the type of people that you work with, what did you mean by that?
So I used to work with like a very close friend of mine, Jordan Esau. We used to like work on songs together
Mhm.
like often. And when he left Montreal, it kind of opened up a little bit of a musical hole in my creative world. And so, yeah, like I just reached out to various producers to like collab with and, create together. And then yeah, I solidified it with like Johnny and Alex and Ian. Yeah.
And how do you think working with them has changed you as like an artist?
Um, I think that like I have a lot of like skills, but my skills can only take me so far. And so I think it's been really a blessing to work with these people because they can take like the things that I'm feeling or thinking, the ideas that I may have, and like crystallize them into like, a bass line or whatever it may be. Because like although I do play like a lot of instruments, it is really like such a blessing to like have people who are really, really talented at like certain things like
Mm-hmm.
add to the sound, and then all of us together create like this specific thing,
Right.
Yeah.
As the primary artist, you don't have to control everything, but you kind of set the mission statement of like, here's where our goal is, right? And so it sounds like when Jordan left, you were kind of alone, like, okay, so what's my mission? Like, and then you, by picking the collaborators, you had already changed something important in your process.
Yeah, because I know like what everybody kind of like sounds like and what their interests are, and I can kind of, it's like being a conductor or something.
Mhm. That's important. Yeah. And so
Yeah, I think so.
did What We Lost get more reaction than other projects?
No, actually, Incantation, I think, has gotten the most reaction. Although What We Lost got a lot of like press,
Mm,
but I think Incantation has been like felt across more continents. Like people in Asia are buying the record, people in Europe, the UK, people like someone in Australia bought the record. So I'm like, oh, it's interesting to see that like this album is kind of like its arms are reaching beyond like North America.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
That's been really cool.
That's awesome.
The
Yeah,
internet.
I think one of the Incantation captures a something you do that's very hard to do, which
What's that?
is um provide like honest joy in music.
Mm,
Because somebody told me about that a creative writing class. Someone said, like, you're about to read a happy poem, which is almost impossible to do. It's
mm.
very hard to make a happy poem that's good. You always end up where your problems are. And
Yeah, that's so true. Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so and it was dope. It's incredible poem that changed me. But like I thought about that. I held that. I was like, oh man, that's like a real thing that it's hard to make happy art. Because if you make happy art, it it can be corny, right? It can just be corny right off the bat. Like some of the happy art that we have in the mainstream, because I know people are probably like, there's tons of happy stuff in the mainstream. A lot of it is like engineered, you know. It's a product,
It's
you
a
know.
product, yeah. It's got a formula. It's
Right.
got a target audience.
Yeah, they're filling that
Mhm.
Katy Perry slot with whoever comes
Mm-hmm.
down the line. And that's the machine. The machine does what the machine does. But if you're actually very artistic and like trying to experiment, but also you want to be happy in the music, that can be a difficult space to inhabit, you
Yeah.
know? Um,
Yeah, it's almost impossible because you can't feel happiness without feeling sorrow first.
yep.
And I think that like this is something that I think about a lot because I try to embody like contrast in a lot of my songs, like whether or not like, the lyrics are sad, but the beat is kind of like a house beat, you know?
Mhm.
And I think about that lyrically as well. Just, oh, sorry, my mom's calling me.
Oh, good.
Mom, let me call you back. I'm in a podcast.
Sorry?
I'll call you back. Bye.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm keeping your mom in the podcast.
I hope you do. Did you hear her say sorry, sorry?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was awesome.
Loved it.
It was
That's
great.
so cute.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, that's the first.
Yeah,
That's the first podcast we've had where there's been an interruption by a mother. So
Yeah, you win.
that's so
yeah,
funny.
Yep.
She's gonna be mortified, but it's gonna be really funny.
It'll be awesome. Legend.
Yeah, Mrs. King.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that if you're thinking about like this might be it, because I think about that as being a very happy song.
Yeah.
Um, like the lyrics are kind of they're like they border on like, contemplating one's own life and like contemplating like where you fit inside of like the world and like if you have a space and feeling emptiness and feeling like you're searching for something but you don't know what it is.
Hmm.
Which is kind of melancholy. But I
Absolutely.
think of that song as really happy as well because it's like this might be it. Like, anything you choose can be it. Like you can find your it at the end of the day without it being like corny as hell.
Yeah, I mean, you like. I think sometimes one of the things I try to tell people who are in a bad space is that a lot of times losing your mind is a solitary situation, right? You are locked up in a room and it's demon on demon stuff, you know.
Yeah.
You are someone who is always present in a community of people. Like, look up Janette King music videos, right? There, it's you laughing and dancing and hanging out with just your people, right? And not in some weird kind of coordinated dance routine way, but the Janet Jackson video with J Lo. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it's that kind of way.
you
So
have no idea how like ironic it is you're bringing that video up because something's coming. But
one of the
that's
best
funny.
singles of all time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny that you brought that up. Um, yeah, it's true. I do have a large community.
And you can feel like the music is in conversation, right, with the kind of community. It's not you're not trapped
Yeah.
in your own but in your own self, I think.
Hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So
And I hope that like the community can like feel themselves in the music, when people hear
but
it.
and you definitely have taken on subject matter that was difficult, right? Change on what we lost is a really important song.
Hmm.
It's a really important song. Because I mean, I could listen to "You Don't Love Me," like that really brought me back to like an Aaliyah zone where I'm like, oh, um,
Yeah.
but change hits and it's like we're like this is a moment where I need to grab you by the collar and talk to you about something,
Mm. Yeah.
and you were like, I am a happy person and I am joyfully in my community, but this shit's messed up,
Yeah.
and that was it's a fantastic song, so.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I think you do that routinely where you will peel that away and you're like, now the happy's gone and we're gonna be in a different place now.
Hmm.
Contrast, as you said. So
I need contrast in my life. And I think that contrast is really important because it helps you to see like the yin and the yang of all things. Yeah.
absolutely. Kay, did you have any moments of contrast where you were like, wow, this is interesting? Listening to
I I mean, I think the whole album, like the first time I listened to it, it was I didn't necessarily understand. I didn't understand the order of the songs
Mhm.
because it starts out. I mean, it starts out with "Here,"
Yeah. Oh
which
yeah.
is like very upbeat, and then it ends with "When That's Gone." But the more I listened to it, the more I understood. Okay, like I started to see like the kind of almost like the big picture of it.
Mhm.
And I understood. Then I started to understand the context of the songs and why they led it to it, why it was kind of arranged in that way. and I started to kind of see like the underlying structure to the album a little bit more. So I mean, the fact that you mentioned contrast, there is a lot of contrast in this album.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very true. And yeah, it's funny because we sat for like a few days trying to like organize the track list.
Mm-hmm.
And we really felt it was important to have like a breath in the middle. Like, which is why, yeah, we added incantation and people say there. We wanted to like have it kind of be like an hourglass, you know? Like
Yeah.
the center is really like where you like are in space floating.
Mhm.
And then you come like out of space and you're kind of coming back down, but it's like a softer landing.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's cool. I was wondering how people were gonna like, you know, absorb the track list or like how like what people were gonna think about it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Cool to hear.
I think it's yeah, and it Kay said something really important of like how if you listen to an album the first time and you're like, these songs are good, but why are they in this order?
yeah.
You gotta be patient and just keep listening because I swear I've had albums where a year later I was like, I get it. The track list makes sense to me. I wouldn't have it any other
Yeah.
way. You
You
have
know who I
to.
felt that about? It was Beyonce's Renaissance album. Like when
Oh,
I heard it the first time, I was like, I don't get this.
yeah, yeah,
I was like, I don't get it. And then I heard it the second time and I was like, huh,
Mm.
okay.
yeah,
I think I'm seeing it.
yep. No, that happens.
Yeah, I mean, and I listened to it like the second time, I think it's good because I listened to the album 3 times. Um, and the second time it was interesting because it was a different it's almost like watching a movie. Like once you see where the movie's going and you don't have to worry about the plot, you can just watch the movie with the context. Like you can understand the context. You just listen to or you listen or you watch the project with the context of where it's going. So that kind of enriched it. And then the third listen, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but then I started picking up on like little details, like the connection. I feel like there was a connection between the first and the second, and the last song, I should say. And I didn't pick that up until the third time, like I listened to it.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
What do you like how, in your opinion, like what do you feel the connection is
because
between
and here you're mentioning feelings a lot. You're talking about time, like this feeling is gonna last like forever, and it's going to
yeah.
be. And then in the last song, it's almost like, damn, is this feeling going to last forever?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sick. Yes. Totally. And like also you're kind of like in when that's gone, you're also kind of living like in the past as well. Like time is
Yeah.
very like interesting in that song because like the song itself is in like a different time signature too. It's like
Mm.
7/8, so it kind of like throws things off balance. And then it's like, yeah, talking about have I like, is it gone? Like, yeah, is this feeling gone forever? Like this feeling that I have for this person, like,
Yeah.
you know, as we get older, like as you grow older, like
Right.
things fade away and like, you know, do I have regrets? Like, did I
Right.
do all the things that I wanted to do?
Almost in like I read in like almost a haunting way, like the feelings that were once good now they're gonna just haunt you for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
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 totally. Yeah, it's a totally haunting song. Yeah.
yeah. The ghosts of the relationships you didn't take serious enough or didn't
Mm.
put your whole
Didn't
heart
go
in.
after enough. Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
let someone slip through your fingers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The relationships where I was like totally invested, even if it went off the rails, I don't really sit back and regret that much. It's what like, man, I never even asked that person, I never even said what. That's what
Yeah.
gnaws it. So
Yeah.
I think you can have ghosts, and that's the incantation thing, right? Is you can leave spirits behind. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
This.
And for 9 songs, and it's a real journey. Like it's
Mhm.
like this is one of those 9 song albums where you can just press play again and go through the 9 songs again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And it
I
is a
even started
journey.
listening to it backwards a little bit as well. It works backwards as well.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I've never done that.
Yeah.
Backwards. Yo, because then you got to build up.
Right. Yeah. That's what.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
that's dope. Yeah, I mean, and to me, I don't know how you feel, Kay, but like because there's so much joy and so much, there's almost like zapping Roger, slapping like Paradise, like there's like real like joyful R&B disco
Yeah.
feelings happening,
Yeah.
and that's what makes people say pop even more.
Hmm. Yeah,
People
it's
say it's
interesting.
probably the the song I go back to the most.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Like I said, it's in contrast to so because you are, the shapeshifter of like, oh, we're gonna do an electronic track, we're gonna do an ambient track. Don't worry, we can just have an acoustic guitar. But like when people say comes and it's so stark and it's just like the haunting piano thing and just killing it vocally and very spooky, you know. It's just arresting. It's a very arresting moment. I don't know, like hearing Carmen McRae for the first time. Like, God damn, what?
Mhm.
You know, it's yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. People say it's definitely one of my favorites off the album.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. The An example I had in my head, Kay, of like a very artistic person who's also trying to bring joy into their music. I was thinking about Gregory Porter.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah.
love him.
Gregory Porter occupies a unique space because he's not like making radio bangers that everybody's doing, but like he's considered a very avant-garde experimental artist who does joy,
Yeah, he
gets
really
away with it.
does.
Very, very hard to
What
do.
is that thing that he wears on his beard? Is that a beard covering? What is that? Do you know that thing?
Yeah, I can picture what you're saying. I don't know what it would be called.
Yeah.
But
Why he wears it?
for people listening, leave the comments in the comments section. Gregory Porter's beard. Do some investigation.
Yeah, help us out.
Audience. We're gonna leave that to the sleuths. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's what we lost definitely feels like a turning point. Um, but Incantation is, I think, more cohesive
Mhm.
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
what we lost. And what I think people don't understand sometimes is that because they'll ding albums for not being cohesive, but some albums are you flexing. Like this is me doing every style, you know? And you need to get that out and just pursue all the avenues uh in order for you to shape it and hone it the next time.
Yeah, I think so. And also sometimes like you look at people's playlists and they have a playlist that like has like 20 different genres in it. Like people like listening to different like various types of music. And I think that if you have an artist that's able to like do like two or three different genres in an album and like have their voice sound, you know, pleasant on all of them, or like have you feel engaged in listening to all of these songs, then that's, I don't know, that's kind of cool. That's a win.
Right. No, that's true. It's yeah. So
I like that personally.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. I like both of those things. It just depends, right? Like it depends on what you're trying to do, right? I threw this out there question on Twitter where I was like, how many features is too many features on an album? And
Hmm.
people were hitting me with their theories, and then people were like, there is no limit. And I was like, yeah, you're right. This was a trick question. Like the album teaches you what it's trying to do, you know?
Yeah.
So some albums need to be cohesive and some albums need to
Um,
be scattered because
yeah.
are in your life, you know?
It's true. Yeah. It's so true. Yeah. Art is a reflection of life experience. In my, for me at least, I can talk about myself.
Mhm. I understand. Okay, the comparison between Incantation and What We Lost. How did you feel about the difference between those two?
I thought, yeah, like I said, I think the cohesion, I think Incantation was cohesive and there wasn't how to say it was efficient. I was gonna say there wasn't a lot of fat on it. It wasn't it was efficient
Mhm.
and it got straight to the point. And I liked the album. And I thought it showed in terms of structure. I thought the structure of the album was really really solid.
Mm.
And it allows for multiple re-listens too. Because like I said, you can the album ends and you can press play right again and start it up again. And because so and was that intentional? Like what was in terms of creation, what lessons did you learn from the previous album that you applied to this album?
I think that like I did want, like I was trying to be intentional in terms of like cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
With this album, I really wanted every single person on the album on every single song. Like I didn't want to have like in What We Lost, I had a couple varying like producers. In this album, I really wanted to be like it's me and the band and we're making the whole album together from start to finish. And there is one song that I have Jordan on,
Mm.
but other than that, like the thing that I learned the most from What We Lost is that moving forward, I would like to like experiment with cohesion more, like have, Janette King the band be Janette King the band, like Sade the band,
Mhm.
have more of like a like intention behind like the whole album's creation, which is what we did with this one. So yeah, I think that was the biggest change. I felt like What We Lost was a compilation album of like various painful moments of my life
Mm.
in like different genres from different producers, whereas Incantation was really like we came together as a band with the intention of creating, crystallizing our band into this music. Yeah, I think that's what we did.
That's cool. And in talking to the band and in touring and performing these songs, um, how have these songs like lived and changed their lives, right? From origination with this group to practicing with this group to touring with this group and watching the songs grow. How is that happening for you
I
guys?
mean, I feel like it's just the beginning. Like I definitely want to take this album to like Europe or Asia and like, if it's possible to tour the States. It's hard to tour the States as a Canadian. It's
Yeah.
so expensive. Yeah, like a visa to go to the States to tour is like $7,000.
Oh wow.
That's
Canadian dollars.
right.
So, but yeah, so I don't know if that's possible. But yeah, I feel like we're just kind of starting to like see the well, not the aftermath, like the real meat and potatoes of like being in this band and like creating this work together.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll let you know like at the end of like how these songs have changed and we've changed with them.
Yeah. I mean, and in a relationship, if the relationship's good, things get better,
Yeah.
right? Because you know each other's strengths, you work with each other,
Hmm.
and you just reach new levels. And so I totally understand where you're saying, like, I don't want to lose what I gained in Incantation, right? I want to build from here. Um, and the Sade comparison's a great start, right? They were always building into new territory whenever they came
Yeah.
through. Yeah.
But that's well put too, because like I do feel a lot closer to these guys. I feel like we have like a a flow. Like we've created a flow when we create music together.
Mhm.
We have a lot of love for one another, like that's been built over the past 2 years of creating this project. We feel like family, you know? And that's rare. Like, there's always someone that's like weird to hang out with in a band.
Right. No, that's true. That's true. I'm not gonna lie. Usually it's the drummer. Usually people are like, the
I'm
drummer
gonna
is
tell Ian you said that.
the drummer's weird. We got to get a new drummer. It's so many bands around here locally. They were just like, drummer lost his mind, man.
Yeah, drummer lost his mind.
I always think of drummers like goalies. You know,
Yeah, they do kind of like save the day a lot of the time.
right? There's my favorite sports book is by like the goalie, who was from the Montreal Canadiens in the '70s. Uh, incredible writer, incredible writer.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tim Horton.
not Tim Horton. Was yeah, okay, he get it, but he was there for all the big '70s hockey stuff,
Okay.
and he was like playing against Bobby Orr and all this stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a great book, and he was basically doing all this stuff, but he was still sitting in the back of the bus, because everybody was like, "You're really weird." Um,
Uh-huh.
and so
Yeah.
that's to be a goalie, you kind of have to be a little weird, like you're sitting in there the whole time while everyone else is having fun skating around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and the drummer is a bit in that in that.
Yeah, and I feel for drummers too because they always have to lug around so much equipment.
Yes.
It
Yep.
must like be taxing on their like souls and their spirit.
Mhm. Yep. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, how did you get this group together?
So like I know each individual person separately and then um and like I had worked with Alex on Cotton Smoke for What We Lost.
Mhm.
And then I had worked with Johnny on You Don't Love Me. And I really enjoyed working with them. And Ian and I used to be in a band in 2009 called the Ponderosas. That was like back in the
Back in
day.
the day.
I don't even know if I want to talk about that, but yeah, no. So Ian and I used to be in that band together, and I really enjoyed his drumming. So I was like, oh, I just moved back to Vancouver. Like, I really want to make a cohesive album with a band. Do you guys want to join me? And they all said yes. And so that's kind of how it all
And
started.
so how does the band, so these individuals were meeting for the first time. How does the band build chemistry?
You know, I I think that like because the Vancouver music scene is so small, like everybody had known of each other or like been hired session as a session player for like some casino get. You know what I mean? Like it's people are hired to do a jazz thing here and like you don't really know the other members, you just read your charts.
Right.
So I think they've like interacted with each other throughout the city. So there's like an acquaintance kind of feeling there. So right off the bat, there was like knowledge of one another. So it wasn't like completely like strangers, but um it just it just gelled immediately. The first cabin session that we had, it just gelled immediately. And yeah, I can't explain it.
Yeah. I mean, and one of the things from talking to people so long, Kay, that we just keep coming back to is if it gels, hold on to it with all the strength you have. Right?
Hmm.
Like you'll know the feeling when you're like, it's never been this easy to make great songs before.
Yeah.
Hold on to that. Hold on to that.
Yeah.
Uh, chase it. Chase it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next record we make together.
absolutely.
Mm.
By the way, the hockey book is called The Game. It's by Ken Dryden. I found it.
Ken Dryden. Okay.
Right.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, no, that's great to hear. Yeah, it's great to hear that you're marshaling your talent in this way, and that the band can feel like they're a part of something that's working out, you know?
Yeah. I think we feel, I can speak for them, but we feel really lucky
Yep.
for sure.
Headlining tour.
Yeah.
Was there a particular date where you were like, this crowd is keyed up and excited to see me? This is wild.
Uh, you know, I feel like all of the dates were really cool. Vancouver, obviously, that's my hometown. So people like really showed out and came through. And Montreal was like,
Mhm.
really, really great. But the one that was like really surprising to me was Winnipeg.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, the whole room was packed. I was like so surprised.
That's
But we
awesome.
were working in collaboration with Jazz Winnipeg, the
Mhm.
promoter.
Yep.
So they really did a good job of like promoting it because the room was packed. I was like, wow, cool.
Shout
What
out
were
to
your expectations when the tour was starting?
I had no expectations. I tried not to because I don't didn't want to like let myself get let down.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly was like, I'm an emerging artist still, I feel like kind of, and there's not when you're touring across Canada, like the prairies and stuff, like it's such small towns and like
Mhm.
I was surprised if anyone came, but I was pleasantly surprised.
That's yeah. You can't beat yourself up about people not being there, you know?
Yeah.
Um, there was a okay when I was doing the poetry reading stuff in locally in town. There was a time when there was just nobody there at the reading, and the people organizing it were frustrated. And I was doing the music, and I played "No One Cares" by Frank Sinatra. It was hilarious. Um,
Funny.
yep, but yeah, you got to be able to kind of divorce yourself from that stuff and keep
Mm.
your eye on the prize. And
Hmm.
so, in terms of being an emerging artist, and you seem to have a really good ability to keep your eyes on the prize, which is the best music, right? I think sometimes people get caught up in how can I politically position myself
Right.
succeed when you're like you succeed with the better album.
Yeah, like how can I like market myself or brand myself or something?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to not bog myself down with that because like my brand is me. Like I'm just gonna be myself, really. And the most important thing to me is like making music that I feel is like saying something from my heart or like saying something from like my experience, my soul. Like that's the most important thing for me. If I'm making art that I fuck with, then wait, can I swear?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Then like I feel like I'm already successful, you know?
Right, right. It's yeah, be it allows you to be attached to that to these moments that you care about, you know?
Yeah, because if I'm feeling something, chances are that like other people are gonna feel it when they hear it. Because
Yep.
it's a real feeling. It's like authentic emotion.
Mm. Was there a moment on this album that kind of stuck out for you in that in terms of feeling?
Definitely Incantation. Like we wrote that in a matter of 10 minutes. And like the reason like we wrote it and like I was like laying on the floor in our cabin. We like set up the mics. Like you can hear the room. Like it's very raw. It's just like me singing into a mic with no metronome. It's I
Mm,
felt like the most emotional singing that one, I think.
yeah. I mean that makes sense because you go from People Say to Incantation, um, and that's, the beginning part of the album is gone. At that point you're in a whole different.
You're in a different world.
Yeah, yeah,
You're floating. Yeah. Second, I think would be People Say.
yep.
When, in terms of Incantation, when was it created in the album process? Was it one of the early songs, or was it one of the later songs?
I think it was one of the later songs, actually. It might have been the last song we made on the album, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
The last one we like wrote.
the tricky thing about performing is that if you're getting emotional while performing, it probably means you're doing it really the right way. Like it
Mm.
probably means you've hit the nerve of what you're trying to convey, and you need to stay there, even though it's going to be painful.
Yeah,
Uh,
it makes it hard to sing.
right. Was there a point where you were like, where you understood that dynamic, and you were like, all right, this is cracking me up, and that means I'm hitting it the right way because this was a rough moment.
Yeah, that's happened to me like many times for sure. Yeah, many, many times. There's a song on What We Lost that's like about addiction.
Mm,
Um, Found a Way.
yep.
And yeah, every time like when I first wrote that song, like I couldn't sing it. And then after a while, like of trying to sing it, I would like get through it with like a tear, and then like over time it's like I can control a bit more. But yeah, some songs are just like they bring you back to the place
Yeah.
when you sing them because you're thinking about the stuff, your life experience. Like, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
it's the amazing thing about art, you know. My son is 11, and he's in class, and he's starting these fiction writing classes. And the first story he was like, I wanted to tell was when he was in Belize with us, took a family trip to Belize, and he met the monkeys. He was so excited to meet the monkeys. And I was like, absolutely, you should do that story because I know you can remember the monkeys. I know you can feel how things felt, right? How the grass felt, how the mud felt. I know you're in that moment because you really cared about that you really wanted to see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's a moment that's that vivid, it's gonna stay vivid so you can describe it in your writing.
Yeah.
So
That's really real. Yeah.
yeah. So that's yeah. And you definitely stay with that. Um yeah. I mean, there's songs on here that I think some people would be afraid to make. Don't Overthink It comes to mind.
Mm,
Um I think some people would not want to make that song. Um just obviously it declares that you overthink, but also some people could be like, you know, there's just lots of ways to poke at us. You poke at people who put themselves out there. So,
yeah,
um,
that's true.
yeah, it was. I think it's an important song for the album. Um,
Oh, that's nice to hear.
yeah, was what was that? When was that song made along the process? Was that earlier or later?
Don't Overthink It, I think, was one of the first songs we made for the album.
Mm.
Like I started producing People Say when That's Gone and Don't Overthink It. Well, Don't Overthink It actually came before anything else because me, Alex, and Jordan had started working on a couple tracks together. And that was like before I had ever thought about making Incantation. Actually, that is one song that is like not that was kind of like added. But yeah, I made that song along with Faded. I don't know if you've heard Faded.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep,
Um
that's awesome.
yeah, with Alex and Jordan. And yeah, that one's a real Yeah. I'm glad that I'm over that time of my life.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing we've talked to people about is in terms of being an artist is like you have this weird like you have there's a lot of albums artists don't want to listen to of their own.
Yeah.
And people would be like, "Oh, why doesn't Redman want to listen to Dare Is a Dark Side?" I'm like, "Because he was dusted and he was not in a good place.
Yo.
He doesn't want to relive that,
Yeah.
you know?" And
Yeah.
so the pain makes for vivid art that we enjoy, but don't ask him to enjoy it.
Yeah.
He's
It's like it's a cathart. It's like once it's out, it's like getting it out of your system as well, you know? It's like a form of therapy.
yep. And revisiting it can be
Traumatized.
helpful, but it cannot be helpful as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can.
Yep,
Yeah, it can be both, that's for sure.
definitely. Definitely. No, it's uh yeah, that's awesome. So definitely seeing the growth and excited that you know the direction you want to be in. Uh that's awesome. That's exactly um where we want. So Kay, do you think how do you feel about the components of incantation? Is it where it, to me what's interesting about it is there really isn't a lot of anything you call R&B that sounds like it.
I know it's hard to like we've been applying for festivals
Mhm.
and they're like, "What's your genre?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, what would you say it is?" Because I'm like having a hard time boxing it
I
into
would
like
trick them and say dance music.
dance music. You think it's dance music for
I
real?
would trick them and say dance music because you have dance music in the belt. Like you can do that.
But like, isn't dance music like electronic house? Or
Mm,
how do
You want
you
me to tell you
describe
who it
dance?
reminded me a lot of the internet.
internet. Okay.
Whoa.
What
Okay.
was what was before Hive Mind?
Ego death.
Ego Death. Yes.
See?
What?
I'm
No
back.
way.
I'm back.
Yeah, particularly Taboo.
Yep.
And
I can see that.
I think and that's kind of whatever genre the internet is. I think that's the space that the band would your band would be in.
A lot of R&B sounds now are like slow, slinky, kind of obviously sexy sounds.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I feel like we went real contemporary. Like we went back in time R&B.
right.
Yeah.
Like we went like 90s and 80s R&B.
90s. Yeah, yeah. I was definitely feeling a little bit of that 90s, yeah, thing where
Yeah.
you could like Amel LaRue stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We went like yeah, Amel Larue, that's a good meets Sade,
Yep, yep,
meets like
yep.
but then meets like Janelle Monet. Not Janelle Monet, Victoria Monet.
Oh,
Mm.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. Infinite Possibilities meets Love Deluxe meets, you know,
Pan
yeah,
Jaguar? Is that the
yeah,
one?
Jaguar too.
That
Yeah.
go.
Yep. I love that. That's a great, yeah. So I would say it's more in this, but it is dance music, but it's like organic dance music. It's
Yeah. It's
yes.
like it's like yeah, it's like not synthesized dance. Well,
Yep.
I guess it is synthesized. I don't know.
You're gonna have a challenge with figuring out that genre. Uh,
Honestly.
but yeah, that's what to me what it is. It's like that this is R&B outside of that sound. And it can still give you those stop the world moments, right? People say incantation, but you can dance. You know, you can laugh, you can yeah, you can
Yeah.
overthink it. You can do lots
Yeah.
of so yeah, gives you looks. It's a good
Yeah.
deal.
Very true.
Um yeah. Hey, if you were to give somebody came up to you said you should I want to listen to Janette King, where do I start? Where would you start? Where would you?
That's the thing, because with this album, this particular album, there's just so many. There's cohesion, but there's cohesion in terms of in the scope of the project. You know what I mean? Like if I pointed out a song like Here and say, yeah, take a look at Here, and they listen to it, they would think, oh, I'm guessing the rest of the song, I'm guessing the rest of the album kind of sounds like that. But that's kind of what I enjoy about this album as well, is the first time you listen to it, you can't predict what the next song is going to sound like.
Right.
Um
I
so
think that, oh, sorry.
I,
Go ahead.
I would point them to Taboo. I
Ooh,
really liked Taboo.
do it. That's awesome.
Nice.
And that it's because kind for me that's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's got that danceability with the bass line, but at the same time there's like it feels like a personal song, like a universal song I think everyone can relate to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think if there was like an epic album for Jeanette King, it would be like Here, This Might Be It, Paradise, You Don't Love Me, Taboo.
Ooh, yep.
Mm.
Yep. I would start them with Paradise.
Mm.
Because I'm a dickhead, K. I want to fool them into thinking they're going to get lots of Paradise, and then boom, you know, we all of a sudden they're like, oh man, I'm thinking about my feelings now. Well, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I want to do that too. But that's where I'm at. Do you have anything more, Care? Do you want to do recommendation corner?
Oh no, yeah, we can go to the recommendation corner.
Recommendation corner time. We're talking about the stuff that we've been listening to and we've been enjoying. Um, and there's so much. Um, the one I wanted to really lead with here is I think her name is okay. It's Ella Thompson. Last year she had an album called Domino. This year it's called Ripple on the Wing.
Mm.
It's that precious. It's on Hope Street Records recordings, Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, cool.
Describes herself as sweet and spooky soul. It is that intersection uh, of kind of Americana country sound and soul that, son of a preacher man. It's that kind of situation. And she's really developed that out into her own thing. And this is really good. I really like it. Yeah, 10 songs, uh,
Say
different
the name.
lengths.
Say that name again.
It's Ella Thompson.
Okay.
I'll tell 'em.
Ella Thompson. So I've been rocking that. That's been really a fresh situation for me. The other
Cool.
thing is, as I said, okay, I was in the hospital all day. My mom
Mm.
had surgery, so I had nothing to do. I had downloaded the movie Ghost Dog onto my phone with Forrest Whitaker.
Ghost Dog.
Edit, see if my son can watch it. Um, and in the middle of the song, he's in the car. He's about to murder a bunch of people, and he puts a CD in, and Willie Williams' Armageddon Time plays.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So I was listening to Armageddon Time, Willie Williams from 1992. 8 songs, really fun, really good stuff. Just a different period in reggae. Really cool to hear. Um, so I'm going with that as my number 2. And number 3 should be some knucklehead music. I don't want to pretend like I'm fancy. Real knucklehead music. Um, there's this guy from Massachusetts, Brockton, Massachusetts. His name is G Fam Black.
Mm.
Okay.
And He talks about beating people up and doing drugs, and he's got 11 albums this year that he's made,
Nice.
where he's just ripping through stuff. And this album is with P. Rowe, who's also really dope. It's called Sketchy. Uh, and yeah, it's great. It's ridiculous. These song titles, Kay, Took His Son Away, S-U-N, Squirt McGirt, Canines and Primates. It's just it's the absolute, you know, G-Fan Black is what Massachusetts hip hop is. It's people in big coats yelling, and he does it. He does it really well. So I'm my knucklehead pick for number 3. Janette, what are you listening to?
Lately, I've been listening to this person named what's their name? Erica DeCassie. Hold on, let me look. Oh, you know who I've been listening to? Earth Eater.
Earth Eater.
Yeah, Earth Eater, and the song that I really like from them is called Below the Clavicle. It's really kind of like experimental, like like almost ambient
Is
stuff.
it deathcore or something? Is this
No, it's like almost like whimsic. The song itself is like kind of sad, like indie type of like sad girl song. But like I think that this person they do other type they do like experimental like pop like hyper pop type of vibe. I'm pretty sure. Like their
what
other
is this
songs are
again?
different.
What is the song again?
Below the Clavicle.
Below the Clavicle. Yeah.
And then I have one more.
Yeah, do it.
This person's name is Erica de Cassier. It's ERIKADECASIER.
Yep.
Um,
Okay.
and the song I love is called Little Bit. And it's very like much a throwback to like Destiny's Child, like Bills, 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 like the
Yep.
harpsichord, like ding, 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 you know? And it's like very much a throwback to that like kind of era of like early 2000s like R&B.
Yeah. It's off an album called Essentials.
Yeah,
Yep. So found it.
really sick.
Times. Yeah, that's great.
That whole album is sick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What
Okay.
about you?
What are you rocking?
Actually, two things. So there's a band called Flow that they've kind of been. It's like an R&B, the British R&B band. It's called Flow, FLO.
Oh, FLO. Yes.
Access All Areas. I've kind of been getting into that. And then the other one, I kept hearing her songs. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing her name right. Chapel Roan.
Chapel.
Oh yeah, Chapel Roan.
Some of the best pop writing that I've heard almost a decade, I would say.
I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't fully engaged.
Really strong album.
That's awesome. The Flow one I'd heard because Glorilla's on a song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, In My Bag, right?
Yes.
I'm pursuing the Glorilla.
It's fun. It's a fun album. I think
That's
it's
sick.
good. I think with all genres, it's almost like a pendulum. Like I think because I think Dano, we did a show about the state of R&B a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about how at the time we were just talking about how dark it was.
Yeah. There was a lot of like
Weekend type music.
Passed out in my bathtub and her skin turning blue, and you're like, oh.
And we love Weekend, but
yeah,
the sound is just kind of taking over R&B. And now I think the pendulum is kind of swinging back because you can't go through the pandemic and listen to Weekend. Like it's not good for mental health.
Well, the other thing artistically, Kay, is it gets silly. It's like, you know how DC keeps trying to make Batman darker and darker?
Oh
I
yeah.
think
Where
this,
next thing you know, he's gonna be doing drugs.
at
Like,
some point he's just gonna be a hoarse voice in blackness, you know?
yeah,
And you're like,
yeah,
dude, I don't like at some point you gotta let some light in here, relax, you know?
yeah.
Yes.
They never will.
It's yeah, it's weird. You're putting hot sauce on hot sauce and relax. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. There's a weird show my wife gave up on. You know, when the wife gives up on a show, I'm like, nah, I gotta book this thing with just me. I don't get a lot of just me time.
Mm.
Show on Max. It's just about people in Florida. So I think it might be called It's Just Florida Man, and they take wild stories. And like
Florida Man is like an internet sensation.
they take like Florida crazy stories. They put known actors in the roles, but
Oh,
it's not drunk history. Like they actually interview the people that went through it. Uh,
whoa.
and it's
Fascinating.
not even honestly, a lot of it's not even that funny. You're just like living through an insane story. And my
That's kind
wife
of
was like,
funny.
"This is too much, and this is not my thing." So I was like, "Okay, I'll take it on. Take it on." But yeah, check it out, okay? It's got some classic Florida business. Um, it's I would never make fun of Florida. I think if you live in Florida, you're an amazing person. You're a survivor.
Good job, Floridians.
Good job, Floridians. You
Absolutely.
survived, and that's fantastic.
You're doing it.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Thank you, Jeanette King, for making this happen.
Yeah,
Listen,
thank you for being so flexible. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
I've been loving your work for years. So yeah, let us know when new stuff comes, and we'll be there to shout you out.
Definitely will. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Canada. We bring your people on. That's why they're 15% of the viewership.
What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow